news media. He was interviewed about, he was so furious that he had the same name as me, and that he was getting all these death threats over the phone. And he said, and they said to him, "Oh, are you related to John?" "Oh, he's some sort of distant relation. He was my first cousin, you know." But he was sort of trying to disown me. But yeah. Another brother had to move out of his house in Wellington because they were getting death threats. So there's a photo of him and his wife in suitcases leaving the house. Yeah.
So Rondon complained that someone fired a shotgun into his house. And then I've also read that your family church got burnt down.
Yeah.
What's those two stories?
Yeah, well, Rondon did get a fair bit of sort of harassment at home. I don't know about the shotgun, but you know, people. He did get a big pile of manure delivered into his driveway once. You know, somebody rang up and said, "Oh, I'm so and so, and I live here, and can you just drop this fertiliser on the driveway?" You know, so a lot of sort of practical joke kind of things were played with him. But I don't know about the shotgun. It wasn't us anyway. Not the shotgun anyway. And the other one was, the church did get burned down. They found it wasn't related to the tour, apparently. Later on, they found there were two young kids playing inside the church in matches. Yep.
What is your biggest memory of the home tour in general?
Well, it had to be that Hamilton was the biggest thing, yeah. Because it had such a really big impact. An impact on us. And yeah, it's a funny thing, you know. Yeah, I guess you feel at the end of it, you feel really proud. The people who were there in Hamilton felt really proud that they were able to make a significant difference. You know, even if a lot of them ended up getting bashed up. If you read, and suffered a lot from it, but also felt really kind of almost elated that they'd done something important, you know, that they'd stood up and done something important, you know, despite the consequences. Yep.
Do you form many friendships because of the protest?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those ironies, you know, you form very, very strong friendships, but on the other side there were families, and there are still families that are divided today because of the tour. You know, some parts of the family don't talk to other parts of the family, all because of 1981.
Do you think that racism in New Zealand's gotten a lot better since the 1981 tour?
Yes, it has. It's got a lot better. The situation's much, much better. I think the biggest effect of the Springbok tour on New Zealand was on race relations here. And that's because there was, during the tour, there were Māori activists who challenged the anti-apartheid movement. They would say in these meetings, good, you know, we're all in this together, but don't just be concerned about racism on the other side of the world, 6,000 miles away. What about what's going on here in our own country, you know? You know, the legacy of colonialism, which is still evident everywhere. So as a result of the tour, there was a huge public debate about racism in this country. And a couple of years after the tour, when Labour got in 1985, they made the Waitangi Tribunal able to look retrospectively at breaches of the treaty, because when it was first set up in the mid-70s, it could only look at future breaches of the treaty. But then there was such an outcry and such a debate, such an intensity of debate that people said, no, there's a whole lot of stuff we've got to clean up from our past. And you know, we're still in that process now, and we will be for a long time. But I think it's much healthier now. It's out being discussed every day, and that's a good thing. Yep.
After the tour finished, were there still protests about apartheid in New Zealand?
Yeah, there were lots of protests that went on here. We had big campaigns to try and stop South African goods being sold in New Zealand. You know, part of the boycott. We had a big campaign to stop 2 insurance companies from investing in South Africa. So we were trying to, that was all part of ring fencing South Africa and saying, if you're going to keep your apartheid system, then we're not going to have anything to do with you. So we were piling on the pressure as much as possible.
When you look back at what you've done, are you proud of what you've achieved?
Yeah, I am. I'm proud of what I was able to do as part of it, as part of the movement. Yeah, very much so.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much. We can just appreciate it.